Have you failed at anything in your life? Great, then this podcast is for you.
Welcome, everyone, to the Elevate from Failure podcast, where every episode discusses the ups and downs of life, how we've overcome them, and even if we're still working through them. I'm your host, Jan Smith. I own Brody Blog, a boutique digital marketing agency, and I'm Food and Glam Blog on Instagram. Today, we have Fred Griffith, whose imagination is his secret weapon. Fred is an entrepreneur, actor, writer, and producer whose life is defined by reinvention. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. This is kind of cool.
I'm glad you think so. Thank you for joining me on my wee podcast, as they say in Scotland.
Sure.
So this show covers mental health, neurodivergence, entrepreneurship, along those lines. So today, Fred sent over to me his bio, and it's incredible. It's kind of like a movie plot in a way. But I wanted to kind of go over with him his background, the obstacles that he's overcome, and where he's at now it really is a testimony to never giving up. And I will kind of interject with my experiences and my thoughts as well. So Fred, get my little planner here.
Sure.
So today I wanted to talk about your background, kind of one of the many things that jumped out at me from your bio is that you kind of didn't complete college, or in the UK, it's university.
Sure.
Which in many families and in my family, like you have to go to college, or else if you don't, even if you take a different path, you're kind of the family pariah, sadly put. So if you would like to talk about that experience, kind of what you
Sure.
went through, and even if you're comfortable with it, how you truly felt, and how you've kind of risen from that occasion.
Sure. Let's start with the background, though. Mine's not as cool as yours, by the way. Your
Oh,
background's
yeah.
kind of nice.
It's giving an
Mine's just,
India vibe.
there you go. Mine's just here in my office at Charlotte Golf Carts that I currently own now. I I grew up in a very small town in the U.S. Very not only a small town, but a very small church upbringing and very restricted in terms of similar to what you were saying that certain things were expected.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody always thought for my generation, I would be the first one to complete college. One thing you don't know about me, I actually failed algebra in the ninth grade of high school. So at the time, academics just wasn't my thing. I was able to complete high school and I was able to get into college. It just never, at that time in my life, it never really resonated with me. And I think it was because I just simply never knew what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
So nothing was of interest to me except possibly getting out of my small town and getting away from my family that was a very dysfunctional family. Not that it was a bad family, it was just a
Mhm.
very challenging upbringing. Once I became of age and started being able to look inside things from a different perspective, I just realized that a lot of the things that I had been taught and for example, money doesn't grow on trees. Money's the beginning of all evil and stuff like that. I just started thinking to myself as an adult, what if that's not true?
Mhm.
So I was able to, go travel through Europe. I saved enough money, working various jobs and traveled through Europe for 2 years.
Have you been to Scotland?
I have not, and I
Oh,
want
should
to.
go.
I want to go for sure, but I actually want to go to all of the UK. I've been to London, but my Griffith is a Welsh name,
Oh, I
so
was
so
wondering
I
about
would
that. Yeah.
I would love to go to, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and of course back to England.
I'd
And it
love to
is
go
on
to
my
Wales
bucket
too.
list. Let me rephrase that. I will be visiting one day.
I like that. I
So
love rephrasing and bucket lists. I'll do that as
yes.
well.
So traveling is a big thing in my life, and that all stemmed when I left South Carolina and ended up in Greece and was there for a year and a half, and then I spent about 6 months in Tenerife in the Canary Islands.
Oh,
And during that time, I was, working and trying to pay my own way. My family just, I didn't come from money. So
mhm,
anything that I ever had to do, I did on my own. But I took that time to really try to find myself and figure out who I am. If I was always kind of conflicted in the regards of how was I so lucky that I was born in America, Caucasian, decent middle class family, although dysfunctional in its own right, but
mhm.
why me and why here versus someone being born in Uganda or other parts of Africa or whatever, and that just always
I think
confused
that
me.
too. Yeah.
So I wanted to figure out if I was brought up differently, how I might think and how I might view life. So
Mhm.
I really started immersing myself in various cultures, and maybe that helped me figure out, okay, this is who I am. This is what's important to me. This is what I want to do with my life. And it just all kind of started from there. But going back to your original question, not having the proper education was a challenge for me. I do, wish things might have been a little differently at the time, but I don't regret it because I
Mhm.
don't think I would be the person that I am today. But I have often thought back, of going back to finish school just to say that I did it from a work perspective or entrepreneurship. I don't necessarily need it now, um, and I'm a big proponent for college or university in your part of the world. It's just maybe not all that it's cracked up to be anymore. That there's a
Yeah.
lot of, especially here in the U.S. I don't know how it is for you over there in Scotland, but here we are just losing all the trades, and people are going to college just to go to college, and they come out with just a degree and struggle finding jobs. So when my kids went to college, I tried my best to help educate them in the respect that I think college is great if you have a plan.
Mhm.
And if you don't have a plan, I still want you to go to college, but I also want you to learn how to do things maybe with your hands or do something
Mhm.
creative or find another way so that you're just not one of the tens of thousands coming out going, yeah, I got a
Marketing.
degree, but I don't really know what I want to do. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's that. I love hearing that because I think um, it is really important to learn a trade, to learn, I think how to live for yourself, whether it's living off the land or fixing things. I think those are so valuable. So I like that you incorporated that into your kids' education.
I
That's
tried
good.
to. Part of my adult parenting education that was self-taught is I learned very quickly if it was something I was into or something I encouraged, a lot of times they would fight against it. Well,
Ah,
that's my dad. That's the old man. He didn't know anything.
mhm,
So I also learned, early in life as raising my children to let them be individual thinkers. I wasn't necessarily given that as a child. So I think that kind of helped me, learn, okay, maybe I want to parent differently, I guess.
mhm.
So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my friends here in Scotland who have a degree and have, the jobs and everything, but from what I've heard, a lot of them, a degree was useful, but they're not doing the job that the degree was for. So it's
sure,
just to get the diploma. Um, and I think here in Scotland, um, the trades are not going away, but they're they're kind of more in demand. But it is kind of like a stigma. Like either you choose a businessy type job or you choose to work with your hands. Um, so yeah, I guess
yeah. And when I say going
kind of
away,
similar.
it's the same here. It's there are less people wanting to do those type jobs.
Yeah.
So that's in my mind how they're going away. They are in high demand.
Mm.
And that was one thing I actually spoke on recently is that I told my children, I said, you know, you may think I'm crazy, but you'll think about this one day when you go to hire an electrician and he says, I'm $500 an hour. I'm the only person in town who does this
In the
work.
wrong
See
business.
you in a month.
Mhm.
And I think there's some truth to that. You know, those electricians, plumbers,
Mhm.
mechanics, those type of trades, it's becoming where they can pretty much demand what they want as far
Mhm.
as pay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, might as well, I guess, but it would be nice to have the knowledge to be like, or to do it yourself, or to have the knowledge to be like, actually, it should be this and this, and half the bill or
Absolutely.
something.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
So I wanted to talk about starting over. Um, January is a difficult month. Um, I've experienced kind of like a feeling of grief, even though I haven't really lost much, but I feel like I'm grieving or something. And unfortunately, I've had friends who have lost pets and that type of thing. Um, if you're comfortable, if you want to talk about kind of marriage and your history with that, and then needing to start over, if you
Sure.
want to kind of go over
Well,
that.
it's interesting that you talk about January because I was actually just telling my wife this morning that I don't feel 100%. Just a little heavy, lethargic, maybe down. I
Yeah.
never really looked at it as grieving, but it's similar. Um, just I don't know if it's the time of the year. One of my coaches is big on this is the year of the horse,
I was about
and
to say that, but like that's
we
not really my
came out
area,
of
but yeah,
the how did she put it? It was the year of the snake last year,
yeah,
so that's like shedding,
right.
and maybe January for me is still a little carryover of the shedding. Uh,
Yeah,
but
remnants.
I think to answer your question, part of my traveling and trying to find myself and learn who I was, I had a I had a very deep longing to be loved. Um, my family, in their own right, they did love me and do love me. It's just a lot of times I feel like now, as a parent myself, there's no playbook. We're not given a how to get, you know, how to find the right partner, how to you know support your partner in marriage, how to raise children. We're just it's like here you go, you know, good luck to you. And for me, I didn't have a good success. I was picking the wrong partners for the wrong reasons, and it took a lot of looking internally and finding out, okay, sometimes maybe it's their fault, but at the end of the day, I have to look in the mirror and say, marriage is a 50-50 partnership. And I'm 50% to blame for the failures and the wins. So it took a long time for me to, I guess, understand that and start really seeking a partner for the right reasons. Not just somebody who, was like, oh, you're the greatest, you're this, you're that. When I mean, we all want that,
Mhm.
but there's much more to it, I guess. I think I was finding that I was looking for someone to help me become a better person, or help me understand myself, or help me, you know, not deal with my past, accept
Mhm.
me for who I am. And it just, all of that was just, I guess, wrong at the time for me. And it took, like I say, a lot of self study,
Mhm.
reading, educating myself to realize, okay, you're just simply going about this wrong. Um, Same thing, with not finishing school. I had to educate myself on what's right and what's wrong, and how you go about getting a job, and all. It's the same thing with marriage. I think you just have to, figure out for yourself that someone can't heal you. You have to heal yourself, if that makes sense.
Oh,
If you're an entrepreneur, you can do a lot on your own. But with a reliable team on your side, you can go even farther. I'm the owner of Brody Blog, and we are a full service marketing team. Whether it's increasing sales for your business or making sense of the analytics from Instagram, Facebook, and so on, we can help grow your business, therapy practice, or charity by developing a strategy with the media channels that align with your highest goals. Whether you want to take your business to new heights or have a passion project that you want to transition into a business, having the right team will help you to reach your goals while actually saving you money. For a complimentary consultation, send us an email at this address and follow us on these social channels. Thank you for tuning in to the Elevate from Failure podcast. Now, here is the rest of this episode.
yeah, that's beautiful. It's um like that can feel kind of lonely, but it's also like encouraging and also kind of like takes a weight off your shoulders when it's like actually this is my responsibility. It's not me finding someone who does this for me. So I
Right.
like that. And
So
you're married
the
now?
yes, and I was going to tell you. So my wife is my childhood sweetheart.
Oh,
We dated in the seventh grade,
oh my gosh.
and we were just completely opposites. And we still are,
Yeah.
but it took us both, let's just call it 30 years, and marrying separate people and raising our own kids to come full circle into a blended family now, and appreciating our opposites, if that makes sense. Her favorite saying is, she is a square peg in my round world. So we have we have found a way to make it meet in the middle, where we both agree, if we would have stayed together from what we here in the States call middle school on to high school and college,
Mm.
we would not have made it, just because of the one, going back to, I had a lot of things that I had not dealt with. And fortunately, she kind of gets the version of me that has gone through a lot of the turmoils and defeats and things that, you know, hopefully I'm a little better person today than I was then. And I have to give her credit though, because when I came back from Los Angeles, Hollywood, I was in a very bad place. Going through a divorce, trying to raise small children, not wanting to leave the creative world of Hollywood, although it put me in financial ruins. I was just in a deep, dark place, and she was able to help me love me for who I am and help me to get back on my feet. I've always been a person who doesn't quit. I don't give up on myself. I don't give up on life, but sometimes are harder than others. And sometimes you need a little help. And in this particular case, I needed a little help and it all worked out for us. So,
Oh, so did you have a feeling or did you know that she would be, um, I guess, your person or your partner for life, like where like back in the
I,
day or recently? Like, did you have a
um,
feeling?
I know that because, we talk about this a lot and kind of analyze it, and friends are like, "Oh gosh, y'all got back together." And um, I know she was the first person that I think I truly loved. If a
Mm,
person can love somebody in the seventh grade, I never thought we would really be married. I thought we
wow.
might, always maybe rekindle a friendship, things like that. But I never thought that it would work. And when we met later in life, after I had moved back to Charlotte, North Carolina from California, it was pretty instantaneous. It was kind of like picking up where we left off.
Oh,
And I did know pretty immediately that this was a person I wanted to have in my life. And I didn't know what that
oh,
meant at the time because I was very anti on getting married and even having a relationship. But like I say, it worked out.
oh. Well, that's awesome. Um, yeah, I'm glad that it kind of came full circle with that, and that's interesting. That at first you didn't think that you could marry this person; it was more a friendship. Um, so that might give hope to people that if that you may not see it at first, or see them in that light, but eventually that could happen if it's aligned. I wanted to talk about your background in Hollywood. That sounds really interesting, although it sounds like maybe a little bit toxic. But you said you're an actor, producer. If you want to talk about that, and also, would you recommend somebody to enter that space, whether they're an actor, creative, writer, model?
Um, great question. It's kind of ironic because I literally had this conversation about an hour ago when I went to lunch. I go to a local spot here and learned that the lady who owns it, her daughter is 16, 17 years old and wanting to possibly look at that industry.
Mhm.
Um, I I'm going to answer this a couple of ways. One, I have learned that
Sorry,
very
the light went off.
oh, that's no problem. Very successful creative people. And when I say creative, it can be art, painting, music, uh, film,
Mm,
uh, any creative person that becomes successful in their craft has a different brain. There's a fine line between creative genius and insanity. I mean, if you look at a lot of the Einsteins of the world and stuff, that you realize that when you have that gene, let's call it, or whatever it is inside us that makes us feel like we have something creative to give to the world, I think we're also born with different characteristics in terms. For example, I know that I'm the type person that feels things way deeper than the average person. Somebody can do the slightest thing and I'm in tears. So it's something that I don't know that you can not do it if you have that inside you because you're not going to be
Mhm.
happy.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Hollywood and really take it serious till I was in my mid 30s because I fought it. I have always been, this is going to sound bad, but I've always been very money motivated, financially driven, trying to always figure out, how I'm going to buy a house, have nice things or whatever.
Mm.
And when you take art, a lot of times it doesn't equal financial success.
Yeah,
So I
unfortunately.
always I always viewed it as though I just don't want to struggle like that. And then again, it just kept creeping into my life at various times. And when I was in my mid 30s, I was like, okay, enough. I'll give it a shot. I can't keep, dealing with this. So I just thought, all right, I've got a, sales position and I've got a decent life at this point, and why don't I just do it on the side? I'll do some plays, I'll do some commercials locally, and it just all started snowballing. Plays led to
Oh,
commercials, led to agents, led to film opportunities, led to TV opportunities, and next thing you know, I'm packing up everything I own, literally with a car and a U-Haul, wife and a 2-year old, and we're off to Hollywood. To go
oh,
back to your question, I don't recommend that. But if if a person has that creativeness in them,
mm,
I am a big proponent of finding a way to share your creativity because you never know. I was just at the one of the art museums in Chicago, and they had, you see things sometimes, and this was literally to me, and
mm.
I'm a very creative person, but to me, this was a steel beam painted bright red standing in the corner. And it's some famous piece of art. And I'm like, I'm still bewildered by things like that because I'm like, but the interesting thing to me is somebody did that and somebody went, wow. So you may have something inside you, whether it's writing, whether it's acting, whether it's painting, whether it's doing a podcast like you're doing right now, that you might see one thing and somebody goes, wow, that's what I've been looking for. That's a great piece of art. I just learned something. So anyway, long story short, I say if it's in you, you got to get it out because that could possibly be your God-given talent.
Ooh. And I think that we often get, I call them divine downloads. They're thoughts that you come up with that they either seem like genius or they seem like crazy, but it's something you want to pursue and that keeps coming up. But then our limiting beliefs, our upbringing, the voices in our head or the voices in our life, they kind of squash that. So yeah, I think unfortunately, creatives and artists, we encounter that a lot. It's an industry that doesn't get as much support. I think Ireland is doing pretty well. They've passed a program where artists make a base income, which is pretty good.
Right?
But
That's
I think
awesome.
that a lot of the world, even UK, has ways to go on that.
So when I
Yeah.
when I moved to California to continue with your original question, I literally I was in a film. It was called Gods and Generals. It was a big Civil War, American Civil War film, and it had a lot of big name stars in it. And that movie is what kind of moved me to Los Angeles to really drop everything and pursue this full time. My first audition was for a show called 24. It's an
Oh,
American show
that
with
one.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was my very first audition in Los Angeles, and I booked it. I booked the role, and I literally did 3 TV shows back to back. 24, Judging Amy in the District, and I literally naively thought, "Wow, they've been waiting on me.
Yeah.
We're moving to Malibu."
Yeah.
And
Woo.
then you go for months without even an audition, let alone,
Oh,
working.
yeah.
So it took me a long time, and you'll hear very famous actors and actresses. Everybody's an actor these days. You don't really use the word actress anymore, but you'll hear actors say, "My job is the audition."
Mm,
If I'm fortunate enough to get paid, that's just gravy. And it takes a long time to look at it like that because when I was out there, I had a lot of people from back home and from all over the United States, that I had become acquaintances with would find me and call me and go, "Hey, I want to do what you're doing. I want to move out there."
mm,
And it would be silly things like, "Okay, if I come out, where do I want to live so that I can go to all the auditions?"
mm,
And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. All right, let's back up. First, you got to get an agent, and that's nearly impossible. Next, you got to hope that that agent gets you out in a possible scenario where they might pick you to come in for an audition.
mm.
And that can be anywhere in these 45 miles that we live in. It can be
Oh, so you need a
Burbank, it can be
car.
Santa Monica. Yeah, it can be. So there is no living near the auditions. And if you're lucky enough that all that falls into place, one day somebody may say, "Wow, I'll cast you in this part."
Mm,
Um, but going from being an actor in a relatively small state in the United States to the mega of entertainment in
mm,
Hollywood, you go from an audition room of 10 and 10 different people to an
mm.
audition room of 200, and it's 200 of me. They look like me, they talk
Oh
like
my
me,
gosh.
and you're like, it's overwhelming because you just go, okay, well, really, any of us could do this if we're
Mm,
trained properly and if we know what we're doing and all that. I mean, you got to have the talent, but just from the
mm.
surface, you're looking around the room and it's very
Oh
intimidating.
my God.
So, but with that being said, I will always go back to if somebody has it in them and they have that desire, definitely pursue it. You never know. Um,
Awesome.
it
Sorry.
only
And then
takes, go ahead.
we're kind of running out of time. Sorry.
Sure.
But we have 4 minutes left.
Okay.
So if you want to plug your business, your services, and I'd love to have you back on, but thank you so much. But yes, please let us know, Fred, what you do and where we can find you.
Sure. I have we say golf cart in the US, a golf cart store. And what I do, it's not like golf carts for a golf course. This is more for like personal use, where a family may have a golf cart to go from point A to point B, whether it's the house to the pool or the house to the club. And I also do some commercial stuff with golf carts with apartments and schools and universities and all that. But I want to say this is not about me plugging my business. I could just as easy interview you and learn from
Oh,
you. I'm dead serious. I mean, when you said you called it divine downloads, that's important to me. I mean, that's I'm a big manifester, and I'm a big
yeah.
everything's energy. And
Yeah.
so
Oh my
when I
gosh, this is
saw
aligned.
Yes.
Got me
So
on.
me being here on your podcast is a divine download to me.
Oh,
So my thing in life at this point is I don't have to come on things like this to promote my business. That's not what it's all about. I want to help people grow and become who they can become. And if I can say something or lend a hand or tell them I've been there, done that from academics to athletics. I always got picked to be on the team, but my ass sat on the bench, pardon my French.
I
So,
know what that's like. I played soccer or their football, and I was on the bench mostly.
so I was always an underdog and still consider myself an underdog. I mean, I take meetings sometimes now today, and that little voice in our mind, like you said, comes in and goes, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, who do you think you are?
Yes, and I have to flip it and go, I'm here because I deserve to be here because I've worked hard, I've done the right things, I've put myself in this position, and it's on my vision board. So anyway, I can't thank you enough for doing this, and I'd be happy to come on and talk, or we
Yeah.
can just email and chat or whatever. I truly want to serve at this point in my life and try to help people understand with the struggles and things that everybody goes through. We all have problems,
Mhm.
but you can't quit. You just can't quit. You always have to get back up.
No. Yeah, and especially this month, like a few people have like reached out to me just like in private, like I'm feeling, for lack of better words, shitty.
Yes,
Like
for
it's just
sure.
a tough time. But this is, I really hope that people listen to this and watch this because I mean we may know not to quit, we may know to keep going, but I think it's important not to be on autopilot when you do that and not to ignore yourself, like to actually like focus on yourself, slow down, and like do it passionately, even if it takes going through a crappy time to get to that, to get back to that point. Um,
Well, the one thing that I've learned from you already is you're willing and open enough to say, I don't feel that great.
mm,
And that's a key to me. It's all about I am trying my best to live my life now from a place of integrity and honesty and just here I am, take it or leave it. And it's interesting that I'm sitting here in Charlotte, North Carolina, you're in Scotland, and we're both suffering from this mental fog of January or whatever the hell it is.
yeah,
So
you
that
and
makes me
Snake
feel
remind
better
me.
already because I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. So
Well, thank you so much.
thank
And
you.
I'll be in touch with the episode
That'd be
details.
great.
And yeah, yeah, thank you so much. Have an
Thank you.
awesome day.
You do the same. Bye bye.
Bye.